Welcome to the Happy Home Birth Podcast, your source for positive natural childbirth stories and your community of support, education, and encouragement in all things home birth and motherhood. How would it feel to be supported in your pregnancy and birth by the women of your family? Hey there, happy home birthers, and welcome to episode 295 of the Happy Home Birth Podcast. I'm your host, Caitlin Fusco, and this week we are speaking to Miriam McCuiston, a stay at home mom of her daughter Zoe, and she's married to her husband and best friend Kyle. Miriam is learning all new things about being a homemaker and a mama, and as we'll hear in her story, she has women around her who are deeply encouraging her and cheering her on. Let's go ahead and jump into this week's episode. Please remember that the opinions of my guest may not necessarily reflect my own and vice versa. And this show is not medical advice, it's an educational tool. So continue to take empowered responsibility for your health and your family. Miriam, thank you so much for coming on the Happy Home Birth Podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
I am so excited to have you. I see this beautiful baby contact napping on you right now. Oh my gosh, what a sweet little snuggly thing.
Yes, she is. This is the only way she naps.
I can't blame her at all. Would you mind taking a moment just to introduce yourself and your family to the listeners?
Yeah, so obviously my name is Miriam McCuiston. My husband Kyle and my daughter Zoe. We live in Tennessee, and my husband works from home. He's a composer, and up until I gave birth to her, I was a dental assistant, but now I'm just a stay-at-home mommy and homemaker.
Oh, that's the best. How wonderful. Wow.
Yes.
A composer. That is very different.
Yes, it is.
Wow. That's
It's
awesome.
super cool. He's really good at it too.
I believe it. Wow. Okay. So, what a cool thing. Would you mind starting us off here at the beginning? So, how was it? What was it like becoming pregnant for the first time?
So, and I mentioned this a little bit before, I had a miscarriage. Well, I got pregnant and I've had like a really early miscarriage around 5 weeks. Right before I got pregnant with her, just at 5 weeks, I lost that pregnancy. And it was really devastating because I wanted a baby for so long. We weren't even really trying to have a baby, but like we knew it was kind of going to be part of God's plan eventually. So we were just kind of waiting for Him to bless us with that. So it was exciting. And then it was like 3 days, and then I lost that baby, and it was really hard. But I got pregnant with her very quickly afterwards, and we were kind of shocked by that. And then at 6 weeks with her, I started bleeding again, and it was on Thanksgiving Day, unfortunately, so it was not a very thankful day for me because I thought I was losing my baby, and we were traveling to my parents' house to go have Thanksgiving dinner, and I was an absolute
Mm,
mess,
mm,
but my mom and my sisters really just helped me out that day, and we went to the doctor or my midwife for, like, blood tests, like, that next week to, like, check my levels because I only bled for that day, and then um, nothing else happened. I was like, okay. But then I was starting to feel nauseous. I was like, okay, that's a good sign.
mm.
So it was really up until 9 weeks, like when we finally got her first scan, until I was like, okay, this baby's actually here. Like she's there. I got to see her, and it was a really, really sweet emotional moment for me. Even just talking about it, I get a little emotional.
I
um,
just got emotional with you. That was, I can't, I mean, just the feeling of going to do Thanksgiving and thinking there's something wrong. Oh my
yes,
goodness, that sounds so
it was a
hard.
scary day, but like my whole family, like my grandmother, my sisters, my mom, they were all just like so sweet and just praying for me and all
Wow.
that. So yeah, it
That's
was
so
really sweet.
beautiful. That's a beautiful piece to something so hard. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my goodness, the joy of hearing those little noises and her being here and she's
Yes.
safe and beautiful. Wow, incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. So let's talk about that pregnancy. First of all, so you said you're midwife. So it sounds like you chose home birth before you got pregnant. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes. So my older sister, who actually ended up being my doula for my
Oh.
birth, used a midwife group in our area, and she had an amazing experience, had an amazing water birth, all of that. And so before I even was planning on having a baby, I talked to her all about it, and then she gave me all the information. So I already knew who I was going to use, and had contacted them whenever I was pregnant with the first one, to see if there was anything that I could do. And so I had chosen them because of my sister. And so, yeah, it was just like a no brainer that I wanted a home birth in the beginning because
Mhm.
I don't really do hospitals. They're scary to me. Never really had a good experience in them. So, and just, I wanted to have like a no interventions birth. And I was like, if I'm going to do that, I think it's going to be home. And my husband was completely supportive with that
Mm.
because his mom was a home birth mom and his sister-in-law as well. So,
Wow.
yeah, so it was really cool to just have that support on their side. Even though my mother-in-law was like, "I can't believe you're doing it with your first baby," because she didn't do it until like her third baby. But yeah, so like I had that support behind me
Mm.
on his side. My mom
Mhm.
was a little bit scared about it.
Mhm.
But so yeah, that was just like the goal from the beginning, and I never even thought twice about it.
That is incredible. Miriam, already in this story, I'm hearing this theme of like feminine support in different ways. You've got on your side, you experience this prayer and compassion. And then
Mhm.
on your husband's side, you've got these women who have, and your sister, you said your sister as well used these midwives, but it's like
Mhm.
you were surrounded by these women who really, you know, that's an encouraging thing to have these people around you who are just so loving in whether it's that they're agreeing 100% with what you're doing or whether they're just supporting you with love and prayer. But wow,
Mhm.
that's beautiful.
Yeah. It was very special. Like I could not, and like I'm all gung ho for the home birth now. I'm like I'm
Mhm.
never, if possible, I'm never doing it in the hospital just because it was just such an amazing experience.
Wow. So what did that pregnancy, how did it unfold? What was it like with your first baby? As your mother-in-law stated, like, whoa, first one doing a home birth. But what was it like during that pregnancy?
It was actually like a really good pregnancy. Like I was of course nauseous the first trimester. That was really not fun. And I worked, like I said, as a dental assistant up until I had her. So that was kind of rough just having to be at work and be in people's mouths all the time when I was nauseous. Like that was really rough. But like after that, like I really did not have any issues at all. Like it was just like the perfect first pregnancy. Like
Mm.
just super easy, didn't have any issues. Had my chiropractor doing all the adjustments and all that stuff. So it was wonderful.
Wow, that's amazing. And what was your midwifery care like?
So I would see them every month. We would just kind of sit down and I would have like a 45-minute appointment with them, just chatting. I would have to go to their office. They didn't do like house calls until you got further on,
Mm.
but just sit down and they were just so sweet. I really connected with one of the midwives, Rebecca, who was at my birth. She
Oh.
actually was at my sister-in-law's first baby 10 years ago.
Oh, wow.
She was a student midwife at that time and got to be present for her birth or her first baby, and then got to be present for my first baby 10 years later as she's like has her own practice and all that stuff. So it was really, really cool for her. Like she even talked about it too. Like this is just such a sweet time. But she was just like amazing. Like her just care. She was so sweet and answered all of my questions. Sometimes even before I even had them. Like it was just very like good care. And then of course her other partners were really good as well. She was like my person immediately. Like she was the one that was there that did the first blood test to like
Mm,
check my HCG levels and all that stuff. And she was just so caring all the way through.
mm. Wow. That's so beautiful when there's just that kind of connection, like that depth of
Yes.
like, oh, I really connect. Oh, wow.
Yes.
Ugh. So I'm curious, how did you prepare for this as a first time mother? You're going to give birth for the first time. What did your preparation look like?
So I did a lot of like pelvic floor exercises. Just really making sure that that was like even before I got pregnant, I was doing pelvic floor exercises because I was like, I know that's super important. And my older sister told me, she was like, just take care of your pelvic floor. And I was like, you got it. So just doing stuff like that, not all the time, just every now and then when I would think about it. And then like through pregnancy, just really being intentional about doing those every day. Starting in the second trimester, first trimester was a no go for me.
Fair.
And then just eating really healthy. Like I was very big on the whole foods diet. I mean, I already was, but just even more so than getting all my protein, making sure that I was giving her everything she needed. And then, like I said, I had a chiropractor. I started going to her like in the middle of my second trimester, just every other week, getting a good adjustment. And she was just so amazing, just making sure that I was prepared in that way. So but yeah, it was just I mean, I walked a lot, like, it was just I was like, "I wanna make sure that my body's ready for this,"
Yeah.
because like, I'm a small person, I'm very petite, and people are always like, "Oh, you're just not gonna be able to birth that baby, it's you don't have the hips," or whatever, and I'm just like, "No, I trust my body, I just
Mhm.
need to prepare my body." So, and that's what
That's
I did.
beautiful. What about like mental preparation? Do you feel like, did you and your husband do anything together, or did you focus on anything in terms of readying yourself for this new experience that you were going to be having?
Yeah, so I was like deep in prayer like every single
Mm.
day about it. My husband was very supportive and all that stuff. And anytime I asked him to do stuff with me, he would, but it wasn't just like we were going to be like,
Woo.
he was with me on the day. But up until that point, he was just like, I think this is all you. But he supported me in every way that he could. But yeah, like I was deep in prayer just about like specifics that I wanted for my birth. And then just praying for a healthy baby and a healthy mama through
Mhm.
the whole time, 'cause we didn't go, like, to the doctor and have a whole bunch of ultrasounds and all that stuff, so it's just like, we had the one anatomy scan and that was it, and I was just like, "Okay, well, we're just gonna pray and God will bless us with whatever child he decides to bless us with."
Mhm.
We just wanted her to be healthy, and that's exactly what she was. But yeah, I just had, like, specifics in my prayer, like, some of them were just kinda silly, like, I was determined to only have a birth that was or labor that was less than 12 hours. I was like, I don't think I could go longer than 12 hours, so that was, like, one of my big things. I wanted it to be a calm and peaceful experience, and that the Lord would just, like, help me to trust my body during the process, and that well, first of all, that my sister would make it, 'cause she lives an hour away.
Mhm.
I wanted to labor during the day, and for the most part, I did, like, it was early morning that I labored during the day because I was just like, "Sunshine, I need sunshine," and then I
Mhm.
really wanted a water birth, but I didn't end up actually giving birth in the water. But so for the most part, God really did just answer a lot of my little prayers about that. So, yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. Wow. Okay. So, what was it like then? Obviously, you said you worked through your pregnancy, you were preparing both your pelvic floor and also mentally, emotionally, spiritually through prayer.
Mhm.
What was it like as you got towards the end of your pregnancy and then into labor? Like what was that transition from pregnancy to labor like?
So, yeah, I worked it was a Friday. I worked up until well, first of all, let me preface, Fridays were always my longest day. I would get up at 5:30 in the morning, I had to be at work at 6:45,
Woo!
um, and then I worked all day until 2, and then went home and just kinda rested for a while, and then we went to my in-laws for dinner. We always do a Friday night dinner with my in-laws, and so we went there and swam in their pool before dinner because I was like, I really like I just want to feel weightless right now. I'm feeling very fat and heavy and I just want to feel weightless. So I did like some laps in the pool and I'm wondering if that's what like really kick-started things. So I swam around the pool with my husband for dinner and then we were there until like 10:30 at night. And then I got home and I was like, I'm so tired. I'm just going to take a shower and go right to bed. And then I woke up at 1:30 in the morning to my water breaking. Just like my eyes shot open and I was like, "Oh my gosh, what is that?" And so I like waddle into the bathroom and my husband had just come to bed because he works from home, so he tends to work late sometimes and like he'd literally just come to bed like 30 minutes before that. And so he saw me waddle to the bathroom. And then I come back out a few minutes later and I was like, "So my water just broke." I'm like pretty positive because I don't think I just wet the bed. I'm pretty sure that was my water breaking. And he was like, "Oh, okay." And I was like, "We're going to go back to bed though, because that's what the midwife told me to do. Go back to bed, try to sleep as long as you can." Even though my heart was like beating extremely fast. So I lay back in bed for like an hour or so before the contractions started, and they started out and they were just like period cramps, and I was like, "Oh, okay, this is fine. Like I can lay here for a little while." And then they started to get like just a little bit stronger, and I was like, "Okay, I can't sleep anymore. Like there's just no way." So I got up and went into the bathroom to start timing them, because I was like, if I if I need to tell my sister to get here, like she's got an hour to drive, I should probably do that. So I texted her. Well, actually, I texted her when my water broke, and then she didn't ever respond. And so I called her at that point. Like I timed my contractions for a few times, and they were 4 minutes apart, like 4 minutes apart and a minute long
Mhm.
each time. And I was like, okay, well that's a little concerning. That's like the time that you call the midwife is what I was told. And so I called my sister and I was like, hey, like these are my contractions are going like this. And she was like, wait, what? Like what's happening? Like it was the middle of the night. And she's like, okay, well let me get my stuff together. It'll take me an hour to get there. So just I guess just try to drink some water and try to relax. And I was like, okay. And so I went downstairs. I was like, I told my husband, I was like, I'm gonna go downstairs and try to labor by myself for a while. You sleep, please sleep,
Mhm. Mhm.
because I'm gonna need you later. And so I labored downstairs with the birth ball just in the floor of my living room while I waited for my sister. And then she got there and we just kind of sat there and chatted. And I called my midwife at some point there. I don't really have like timestamps because at one point I lost my phone and I never saw it again really. But I called my midwife and they were actually at another birth, or my 2 midwives were at another birth, and she was like, "It doesn't really sound like you're struggling through these contractions, so give it an hour and call me back, let me know how you're doing." And I was like, "Okay, that's fine." So we just hung out downstairs for a while, and she did hip compressions on me, tried different, like, positions and all that stuff, just kinda figuring out what was gonna work for us, because I was already having, like, back labor. Like it
Mhm.
was like all like the contractions were all in my back and I was like, "Oh, this is not going to be great." But yeah, so she did hip compressions and then we were just like I was totally fine in between just chatting with her, laughing. She was telling me about her kids and like the crazy day that she had had because she had actually been at my house that day before to help me clean my
Oh.
house in preparation for the baby. Like I was
Oh.
like I thought it was going to be like having a baby at 40 weeks and then
Mhm.
38 weeks and 1 day here I am. And my
Whoa.
sisters had just been there to clean my baseboards because I was like dead set on having my baseboards cleaned before I had this baby. And
Miriam, you
then
know you caused this. You
I
caused this
did.
by having everyone come clean your house.
I really did. Like they showed up with their kids and they went around and cleaned everything, cleaned my
Aw.
windows, vacuumed, like did all these things and then just kind of like hung out with me for a while and I think it was funny cuz I my sister told me after the fact she was like, "You realize you said it's finished. Like I'm ready now." I said those words and I
Your
totally like caused it.
your daughter got the message. She was like, "Oh, she's ready. Cool.
Okay, yeah, she's
I'm
like, "All right,
coming."
let's go, mom."
Sweet.
So yeah, she told me about the crazy day that her husband had had while he was keeping her kids while she was with me. But anyway, so we were downstairs for a while, and then eventually, like the contractions, like they were still very consistent, like a minute long, and then like they started to get like every 3 minutes, and I was like, I think I'm ready. I think I want to go get in the shower to like get some heat on my back because I was like dead set on having a water birth, but the midwife was bringing the pool, and so I
Mm.
was gonna have to wait on her to do that. And I was like, I'll just be in the shower for a while. Like I had this plan. I told my sister, I was like, I want to be in the shower and then maybe in my bathtub and then the pool.
Mhm.
And so she was like, okay, well, let's go upstairs. And so we snuck upstairs, trying not to wake up my husband, and snuck into the bathroom. And I think going up the stairs did something to even like make things start going even faster because I never made it into the shower. I was just crouched in the floor of my bathroom with my birth ball and my sister, and she's like, "Okay, I'm gonna call the midwife again because this seems to be really picking up."
Do you know what time that was?
I think it was probably like 6 o'clock, maybe. Like we stayed downstairs for a while,
Mhm.
just hanging out. And I think I had called my midwife another time, and she was like, "You still don't sound like you're there." And I was like, "Okay, fine."
Mhm.
And so going up the stairs did something to me. And so it was like 6-ish in the morning. Because I remember there was like it was starting to get a little bit lighter outside. And so my sister called my midwife again and she was like, I think you really need to like get over here. Like she's really struggling through these. Like I couldn't talk anymore through the contractions. And I was like really starting to vocalize. And I was like, this is getting intense. And so my sister called the midwife, told her, she was like, okay, well, I'm finishing up at this other birth, and then I'm on the way. And she woke up, and then my sister woke up my husband and was like, you need to go be with her while I set up the birth space. Cause I told her the day before, I was like, I want to have the bed ready just in case I give birth on the bed. So, like, she had to change my sheets and put down the plastic and all that. And so he came in there with me and did hip compressions and just held my hand and prayed over me. He prayed over
Mm.
me several times during this. Like anytime it was just the two of us, he was just like, I'm just going to pray over you, just like pray for peace and pray for strength and all that stuff. So it was just really, really encouraging to have him there and just really speak that over me. And so my sister got the space ready and he stayed with me. And then she came back in there and because I was starting to get loud. And she called the midwife again and she was like, I'm 20 minutes away. And like during this time, I'm like, I think I need a poop. And my sister was like, no, this is not like, because we were told, like, if you need a poop, that means you're ready to push. Or at least that's what I was told at some point. Someone was like, that's the sign. And so she's like, I can hear her talking to the midwife because I was like in the zone. There was no like time that I came out of the cloud. Like once I was in that labor, I was there. There was nothing else. I did not care what was going on, but I could hear it in the background. She was talking to the midwife, and the midwife told her that like, okay, get her on the bed, put a pillow between her legs, and just like try to get her relaxed in that way because they were afraid I was gonna have this baby on the bathroom floor. Because it seemed like I was really far along. And then I got on the bed, and my husband was with me and I was like, "No, Kyle, I really need a poop." I just kept on saying, I was like, "I need a poop." And TMI, but I did poop and he helped me through that. He like helped me waddle to the toilet and sat with me while I did my business and
Mhm.
I was like, "Honestly, I feel a lot better now. Like I can the
Yeah.
contractions seem to lessen up because I cleaned myself out."
Yeah, you made space.
Exactly, exactly, and then I sat on the toilet for a little while and I was like, "Okay, I know I need to get off of this because this is like dilation station. We gotta go back to the bed." And so I finally get back to the bed, like in between the contractions, and then my midwife finally gets here around, I think it was 7 in the morning, 7:30-ish, and she checked me and I was only at 5 centimeters. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, 5 centimeters, like, this is already really rough," just because, like, the back labor, like, I was not expecting it to be so intense, and so that, like, really threw me, but I was, like, praying the entire time, like, in my mind, I was, like, trying to recite my birth affirmations that my sister had pinned up on the wall and all that stuff. I was trying to like remember those in between the two. I was just like, I can do this. Like my body, I kept on telling myself, like out loud, I was telling myself. And they kept on like telling me, I was like, you can do this as well. So yeah, my midwife was like, she was like, okay, well, I can set up the birth pool. Since you're only at 5 centimeters, do you want to get in the bathtub while I do that just because you want it to be in water? And I was like, "Yeah, that sounds good." And so they got me into the bathtub, and I stayed in the bathtub. I think I might have started pushing in the bathtub. And that's when they got me out and were like, "Okay, maybe we'll move to the birth pool." And I think yeah, I stayed there for like in the bathtub for a couple hours. My sister and my husband were doing hip compressions. Like I was getting like double hip compressions. Like she was pressing down on my back and he was squeezing my hips, just like each contraction. Cause and I was yelling. Oh, and the best part about my sister, she would like moan with me, just like a good doula does. Like she would like get really low to remind me to go because sometimes I would start to get a little bit more high pitched and she would bring me back down and that was like amazing to like that was
Mhm.
like the best part of having her there. One because she's my sister and I love her dearly. But two, just having that reminder to stay low, like, you need to have those low, low tones to really help your body relax and get through this process, and she was so good about that, like, the entire time. Like, even when she wasn't in the room, like, I could hear her, like, doing the low tones to
Oh,
remind me, and she would never,
wow.
like, say anything, she would just get down in
Mhm.
that low, and it was just so amazing.
Wow. That is really beautiful. I mean,
Yeah.
that is oh gosh, like what a dream to have that connection with your sister and to have her be such an integral part of your story. That's really beautiful,
Yes. Yes,
Miriam.
it was so sweet. And actually now she's, like, getting her like, this was just like, "I'm gonna be your doula," but now she's, like, actually getting her certification to be a
Oh,
doula. And
wow.
she was just a doula for my other sister who just had a baby 2 weeks ago.
Wow, how sweet.
Yes, so this was, like, her test to see if, like, she really wanted to do it, and afterwards
Mm.
she was like, "Absolutely." And I was like, "Yes, you were amazing. I want you at all of my births now."
Wow. Incredible.
But yeah, so she like, hip compressions, the moaning, all of that, like, that was so helpful. And then when my midwife finally got the, uh, birth pool set up, um, I had to have been at, like, 8 centimeters at this time. 8 or 9, I'm not even really sure, because I don't she didn't ever check me again, but I'm just, like, gauging how I was feeling. I was like, I was pretty close at that time. So they got me to get in the birth pool, and that was really nice. It was just kind of hot. That was my problem. I kept on getting, like, hot and cold.
Mm,
Like, I would get out of the water and I would be cold, and then I'd get in the water and it'd just be hot. Like, I'd be
mm,
like, just sweating. And so they kept on, like, fanning me with, like, a wet cloth and, like, putting a wet cloth on the back of my neck just to kinda cool me down, but then while I was in the water so that I could still have that freedom to kinda move around. And I tried a whole bunch of different positions in the birth pool, but a lot of the times I would just get, like, locked in on my knees, and my midwife, she's kind of like a more of a hands off. Like, she's like, "I will get in there if you need me to, but if not, I'm just gonna stand back and wait till you need me." And she would check the baby, like check her heartbeat, all that, like every few contractions, she would just check on her, make sure she was still doing good. But yeah, like I would get locked in a position, and every now and then I would hear her just be like, maybe try a different, like, put your knee, like, put your foot up, like, just kinda get on your back, like, every now and then she would say, like, "Try a different position, Miriam, like, it doesn't seem like you're making any progress that way." And then I guess whenever I remember, like, telling her, I was like, "It's burning, like, I can feel it burning." And she would just be like, "Yep, that's your baby, like, reach down, you can feel her." And it was such an amazing feeling to just, like, get to reach
mm,
down and, like, feel her head. I was like, "Oh my gosh, she's right there, like, I'm about to meet my baby. Like, this is so exciting." In like, that was my thought, like, in between, like, "Oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do this." But yeah, so she, kept on telling me to, like, change a position after I'd been like, I would stay in one for a while, and then at this point, my husband and my sister, like, they couldn't really reach me to do hip compressions anymore because of, like, the positions I would get in and get locked into. So really, they were just there, like, I squeezed my husband's hand every single time, and then I would be, like, crying out to God, like, "Give me your strength, like, Lord, I need your strength right now." And there was
mm.
actually, like, a really cool picture where, like, I'm, like, leaning over the birth tub, and I've got my arms, like, stretched out in front of me, and I remember, like, I was reaching for Jesus to, like, give me
Oh.
the strength, like, I could feel him giving me the strength because this was, like, she was crowning at this point, and I was like, "Jesus, I really need your strength to get me through this," because I felt like my back was gonna break. But yeah, like, that I was like, that's one of my favorite pictures because, like, I can see my husband in the picture and then, like, me, like, my face is just absolutely I look like I'm in a lot of pain,
Mm,
but I was like, weirdly enough, like, in that moment, I didn't really feel the pain, like, all I could feel was, like, God kinda wrapping his arms around me, just being like, "You can do this," like,
mm,
because like, I remember saying, "I can't do this," and in that moment, I heard it in my head, I was like, "No, you can do this, like,
mm.
your body was built for this, you can do this." And so I just had to keep on telling myself out loud, like, "You can do this, you can do this," and then everyone else around me would, like, confirm, like, "Yes, you can do this." After that, I guess my midwife told me I was getting really tired at this point, and I kept on trying to like lay down, but since I was in the water, I couldn't really lay down all the way. And so she was like, I think it's time for you to get out of the tub. I think you're gonna have to get on the bed because I was just exhausted at this point. And so they got me to stand up, and I'm standing at the edge of the birth pool, and my husband's like got one arm and my midwife has got the other arm, and I'm standing there and I was like, I can't pick up my leg, like I just can't do it. And then my midwife was like, you're picking up your leg right now. And I look down and I'm like, and I am picking up my leg. I was just like, I can't get it over the edge. And she was like, no, you can't. Get out of the tub, Miriam. Like she just like was so firm. She was like, get out of the tub. And I was like, okay. And I just like climbed over the edge and I was like, oh, that wasn't so bad. And I was like, why did I think that I couldn't do it at that
Mm.
point? I just needed that little bit of encouragement, I guess. But yeah, and then I remember I got to the end of the bed and I had like a really strong contraction at that point. And then I got on the bed and was like in child's pose, and she was trying to get me on my side. And I just like stopped in child's pose and I was like, I've got to do another contraction right here. And she was like, okay, that's fine. Just and then I went through that one and then I laid on my side and my husband got up behind me and just was like kind of cradling me like in his
Mm.
arms. And then in that position, I pushed her head out. Like it was like that the movement of getting out of the pool
Mhm.
and then just, I don't know, bearing down in that child's pose and then laying on my side. There was her head. Like it was immediate. And then I was like, oh my gosh. And it was actually really cool. I forgot to mention my best friend actually did get to come and be at the birth. She wasn't really like any part of it. She just wanted to be there, to be present. And it was nice to like have her in the room. Like I knew she was there, just didn't really know about it. But she got a video. Like no one else was really like my midwife was taking pictures, but like she got a video, not like a graphic video or anything like that, but just from like the back of the moment that I pushed her head out. And it was just such a sweet time. Like
Mm.
amidst my screaming, like my sister was like standing on the side of the bed, my husband just wrapping around me. It was just so
Mm.
sweet. And then we had music playing in the background, of course, and I just like thrown together this playlist of just songs that I loved. And have you ever seen the movie Spirit, the horse movie?
I think I might have a long time ago.
Okay, so this is just a funny thing that I just was like, God really gave this to me. I love that movie growing up. And then there's this one song, and it's when baby spirit is born. And the song is Brian Adams' song, Here I Am, This Is Me. I come into the world so wild and free. And that song was the song that was playing while I was like giving birth to her. Like the entire video of like pushing her head out and pushing the rest of her out. This song is playing in the background.
You are kidding me.
No, I'm not. And I was like,
Chills.
right? And I like told my husband before, like months before, I was like, that would be so sweet if that was the song. But I never said anything else about it. No one, like, the song was playing from my phone. No one was touching my phone. It just, God was like, here's another little reminder that, like, I'm here for you and I do answer your prayers and all that. And it was just, it was so sweet because I was like, in the midst of all of it, like, I pushed her head out and there was a long pause before I pushed the rest of her body out. And that's when I kinda came out of my fog and I heard it. I heard the song and I was like I looked at my husband and I was like, "I love this song." And he's like got tears in his eyes and he starts laughing because he's like, "I know you do." And it was just it was so, so sweet just to have that little, I don't know, funny little piece to add to her birth story. But yeah, so she came out, the rest of her came out, and I got to pull her up onto my chest like I was the first one to touch her. Like my husband did not want to catch her. He made that clear. He was like, I want to be up near your head. And I
Mhm.
was like, okay, that's fine. So I did. I got to bring her up to my chest, and I was just like in awe of this big baby that just came out of me. I was like, oh my goodness. And I just kept on being like, oh my God, thank you so much. Like, this is amazing. And then just like seeing her sweet little face was just, it was literally everything.
Mhm.
And my midwife thought that she was going to be an 8-pound baby, but she was not.
What was she?
She was 7, 8,
Oh, sweet thing.
but bigger than we were all expecting because we were
Well,
expecting like a 6-pound baby at 38 weeks.
yeah, I was gonna say also you were 38 weeks, you weren't even 40 weeks. That's
Exactly. So
yeah.
we were expecting her to be little, and she was a lot bigger than that, but
Wow.
so perfect still.
Oh my goodness gracious. That is just such a beautiful story. So she's born, she's put on your chest. What were those initial few hours like postpartum?
It was really sweet. Like, we just laid in the bed with her, like, for like an hour and a half. Like, they started cleaning up the room and they checked all of her vitals and everything just with her on my chest. Like, they never took her away from me. We just left um, we didn't cut the cord until it was like completely white. Like, and I didn't even feel like the placenta coming out. Like, she was just
Mm,
like just a little push and it came right out. And I was like, that's awesome. And so we just laid in the bed while they cleaned everything up. And really, I it's such a foggy memory, but I know we laid in the bed for like a good long while with her and my husband, and someone brought me something to eat during this time because I did not even think to eat at all. Like, my sister tried to feed me multiple times through the labor, and I would would not. Like, she would give me water, and that's the only thing I would take. So someone brought me some food, just like a piece of sausage, I think, while they all cleaned up the birth pool and just everything else. And then I wanted to take a shower. So they gave the baby to my husband and he did some skin to skin with her and they let me get in the shower. They were just like, "Don't let it be too hot." Just kind of a lukewarm shower, and it was so nice just to be able to get up, get in my shower, rinse off, just kind of feel a little bit more human, and then just get back into bed. They had changed the sheets and just made it all cozy again. And then at some point, my mom showed up because she was going to stay with us for a few days afterwards just to kind of help take care of night feedings and all that.
mm,
She showed up like an hour or two after the birth. So
mm,
at that point we were like, my midwife was gone and everything, and it was just really sweet to get to see my mom and give her a hug and
mm.
all that stuff. It was wonderful. And then I curled up with the baby and took a nap. Like, my husband was like, "I'm gonna go downstairs. You just lay up here," and that's what I did.
Mm.
We just laid in bed and took a little snooze.
Wow. Oh my goodness, how beautiful. And how old is she now?
She is almost 3 months.
Almost 3 months, so she's
Yes.
still just a little tiny thing. Oh my
She's getting
goodness.
so chunky though.
Oh, man. So how have these 3 months been then?
Really good, actually. The first few weeks were kind of rough, obviously. Learning how to nurse and everything was really hard. She ended up having a really thick lip tie.
Mm,
They said it didn't really bother her nursing, but I felt like it did. So we ended up going to see a lactation consultant, and then we went to a more holistic dentist, and he did the laser cut on that. And he told us she actually had just small cheek ties as well. We had that done, like, I think she's like 5 days old, 5 or 6 days old when we got that done. And after that, like, I felt like the nursing got a little bit better, like, because I was really, really struggling mentally at that point. I was like,
mm,
I was determined to breastfeed. Like, I was like, breast is best. I've been told this for forever, and I don't think formula is a good idea for her. So I'm like absolutely determined to do this, whether it kills me or
mhm.
not. So we did that, and then I got mastitis like at 2 weeks
Oof.
postpartum, 2.5 weeks
Mhm.
postpartum. So it's like right to the point where the nursing had started to like get a little bit better. Like, she was latching a lot better and like feeding a lot better. And then I just woke up in the middle of the night one night and I was like, "Oh no, I know exactly what this is," because my mom told me about the signs.
Mm.
So that was really rough, just kind of working through that, and it hung around for a couple days. But I guess by the time she was like a month old, I really started to feel confident in being able to nurse her and for her to feel like she was full and everything. But she did a really good job with it. Oh, hello. She's
Aw.
starting to wake up too.
Hello. Oh my goodness. She's like, "Are you guys talking about me?"
Yeah. But yeah, like, I just had a really supportive like family during the time. Like, my mother-in-law would bring us meals. Like,
Mm.
Every day for like the first first for the first week, she would bring us a meal so that we didn't even have to worry about heating anything up because I did do some like postpartum meal prep and all that. And everyone just really kind of respected our privacy for the most part. Like they would all ask if they could come and just see her. We didn't let anyone hold her for a few days except for the parents. Like my parents and his parents got to hold her for just like a little bit. But anyone else, we were like, we're gonna wait a few days until we feel a little bit more comfortable.
Mhm.
So everyone really respected that, and that was really nice. But yeah, we
Mhm.
just kind of hung out. I stayed in my house for a good long while before. I think the first time we went out obviously was to go to the what is it called? Dentist
Yeah.
to get the lip tie done. But yeah, it was a really sweet time.
Mm. Wow. Miriam, this is just so beautiful. Like there's what a sweet, beautiful story. And you chose with your first baby to give birth at home.
Mhm.
The way that you prepared is just beautiful to hear with prayer and hearing your husband pray over you, during your birth and all of the sweet little reminders of, the Lord's provision and care all the way
Mhm.
down to the song that's playing as
Yes.
she's born. It's just incredible. As
Yes.
we come to the end here, how would you sum this up? What would you want to share with mothers? What do you want them to know about your story or their story about how this unfolds?
I would just say trust your body. Like
Mm,
our bodies can do amazing things. And I think women get scared into thinking that their body can't birth their baby. And it's just so untrue. Like,
mm,
I mean, for years up until this point, like I was told, you're too small to have a baby, like you're gonna end up with a C-section, like all this stuff. And I was just like, I don't understand this. And I guess having a home birth, I really was just like, I'm gonna stick it to all of you. Like, I'm gonna show you that my body was built for this, like,
yeah.
absolutely built for this. And so just to remember that God did an amazing thing when he created women's bodies. And yeah, just really prepare your body for that. I mean, yes, it was built for it, but it needs a little bit of help sometimes
Mm,
just to do it correctly, I guess, and to have a healthy pregnancy and birth. So yeah, just trust your body is what
mm,
my main thing would be. God will do the rest.
mm. Beautiful. Wow. Miriam, this was just an incredible story. So many beautiful themes in it. I can't wait to jump into the episode roundup and talk about some of the things that we've discussed, but truly, truly amazing. Thank you so much for coming on the Happy Home Birth podcast.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. It was great to just get to talk about it. It was an amazing day for me.
What a powerful story from a first time mother. As we jump into this week's episode roundup, I have two main points I want to reiterate from Miriam's experience. First of all, it was so clear to me from the very beginning this theme of feminine care in Miriam's story. From her group of women family members praying over her on Thanksgiving, to her mother and sister in law supporting her and sharing with her their own birthing experiences, her sisters coming over to clean her baseboards and her home. My goodness, that alone was beautiful to hear. But wow, the way that Miriam's sister played such an integral part in the birthing process just blew me away. How she came over and talked with her, told her stories, and shared about her day, provided counter pressure, and then moaned with her through contractions to keep her grounded. I just felt chills the whole time. And I pray this relationship over my own daughters. My goodness. And it didn't stop there. Her mother came over to help during the first few days postpartum, and her mother in law brought them warm meals. This is what it looks like to be surrounded by women. This is what compassionate care looks like. This is the goal. And next, I want to take a moment to focus on the point of Miriam's labor that stood out so strongly to me. She's in the birth pool, likely going through transition, where she begins to feel like she just can't do it. What does Miriam do? She calls out to her creator. She knows that he hears her. She asks for his strength. She reaches out to Jesus, physically reaches out to him, and she feels the love of the Father wrapping around her and providing her with the strength that she needs to complete her task. Jesus is in the room, my friends. He's Emmanuel. He's God with us. Call to him. Expect him to answer. He's there. He can strengthen you, whatever your birth is looking like. He can strengthen you now, whatever situation you are in. He's right here, just as Miriam sensed and experienced. There's nothing greater. Wow. I am so encouraged from this birth story. How beautiful to hear this first-time mom's experience of transitioning from maiden to mother, surrounded by her loving husband, her community of women, and her creator. That is all I've got for you for today. I'll see you back here next week. Thanks for listening to this week's episode. Are you looking to extend the home birth support, encouragement, and education? Join us in our Facebook group, Happy Home Birth Podcast Community, and check us out on Instagram at Happy Home Birth Podcast.